So today I'm bringing to the Journeys to the Lighthouse community a person that's really very important to me personally. And I found Alex through um, a way of healing. And I feel like our my community here with Journeys to the Lighthouse can really benefit from her story. And so I'm proud and excited to have my actual first guest on the podcast. Um, Alex Simmons here today to talk about her journey and what she does. And I'm going to let her actually, Alex, I'm going to let you do your own introduction. But the reason that I feel that you are so important to people to hear and know about, first off, it's not just that you heal people and you speak to the body and you do these amazing things. It's that your story is so compelling. And I really want people to know. You're a very accomplished professional. When I met you, we talked about your story. You have an MBA, you BS MBA, right? So you're very accomplished with credentials and schooling. You had a full-time career that just took you places that around the world. I know you traveled a lot, but all of that in itself is amazing and a reason for you to be on the show and on the podcast with me. However, what I really love is how you're healing the world and the people around you. And so I'm going to pass it over to you. Of course, your Life Transformation Center is where I found you. That's your company. I was introduced to you from a practitioner, a Reiki practitioner that was working on me, and I got introduced through my yoga community. However, like I said, this podcast isn't about the spirituality and all the woo-woo parts of my life. It's that you have a really great story here to bring to the community. And I'm hoping that they learn something from you based on your story. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Alex. And I know we're kind of impromptu and we have, it's not scripted. So I want you to share your story. Who you are, what happened, and what led you to start your own company that's outside of the mainstream business that you were doing before.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jenna. So Alex Simmons, and I live in Southern California. And today I am an intuitive, a channeling healer, which I would have told you in 2013. I didn't even know what any of those things were, and definitely would have never believed them. So yeah, I was always well into my career, education, working. I was a workaholic. I was into information technology for years, and very analytical mind, definitely no spiritual at all, and had no awareness to any of this. But I think that was all kind of training ground for really understanding the body, which I now think of just like a computer, and the manner in which it kind of is presented and the way it interacts with each other, it's definitely completely in line with my past. But there came a time, and it was right about 2013, where pretty much every aspect of my life started to fall apart. And I think that's very similar for almost everyone that I hear that gets into some line of work like this. If they didn't start out in a family, who had any awareness to this, then, kind of just spiraled downward. And it was a time in my life when pretty much my finances crashed, my career crashed, I lost my job, my relationships, going through divorces, and very significant health issues, which got to be where you just couldn't even hardly function at all. So it's kind of like, it was like the perfect little storm to make you absolutely do something different. And so in this state that I was in, and I would go to medical doctors and they would tell you that it's incurable, take this, and but nothing was ever solved. And I remember speaking to a physician, and I wanted to prevent something. And they go, well, wait until, just keep up with screenings. And then if you ever get cancer, then we'll take care of it then. And I thought, want me to wait until I have it. And I just was the last doctor I actually ever went to. So being in California, after moving here, I started to get introduced to some people, and they said, oh, this person can help you. This person can help you. And at that point in time, you're like, whatever, you'll try anything. And so even if I didn't believe them or not, and I'd go in, and I saw, it was about 3 different holistic practitioners at the time, and I found their work absolutely fascinating. And they were absolutely correct in the things that they would know and do, and everything they did worked. And I found myself going from probably conditions, probably 20, 30 different, conditions of every, autoimmune, but anything down to allergies and ADD, just headaches and anything that you might think of, to not having any of those ever again. So that was like 2014. So to know that you can absolutely change yourself and nothing is incurable, and that there's something that you personally can do about it, and that there are alternate ways. So so one of my goals is to kind of get this message out to other people, to let everybody know that it is logical and it is very scientific, and it is something that we can tap in and communicate to our bodies, and our bodies know exactly what they need to heal. They know exactly what's going on. They know exactly what to do. And it's just like learning another language. I think if all of us were taught, maybe at age 4, it just is like to read a book. We were taught to read your body. And I think we will. And maybe we did in the past, but it's just kind of been forgotten. And so it's pretty incredible.
And so I wanted to revisit that. Like you weren't taught this, right? I mean, you didn't grow up in a spiritual family that was tapped in and did holistic stuff,
Oh
right?
gosh, no.
Yeah, right. And so and like we talked about your accomplishments as a career woman, and you worked for a huge company. You traveled a lot. You said you traveled like every week. You were,
Yeah, probably for at least 20 years, probably every week, Monday through Thursday, different cities. I usually took assignments at companies for a couple of years at a time, but I was always traveling back and forth to my house. But I worked like 20 hours a day. I mean, that was kind of my job. I slept very little.
yeah, interesting. No doubt that you ended up, ill, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we can't do that. We're not designed to do that. And so, okay, so it sounds like, it was about a year of transformation where you started seeing that there might have been something different. I mean, that's not that long, you know.
I would say it was probably a lot longer than a year. I would say it was a year before I started. It was probably another 4 to 5 years before I really fully embraced it and made it like into a career.
Sure.
And I went to a mentor of mine, and I'm going, I don't know what to do. It's not changing. And she's going, you're not unraveled yet. You've got to completely unravel in order to go in a different direction. And that's not to heal, but to be a healer. So I just had to, get out of what I felt was successful, and, all of our indoctrination of, our Western medicine and drug, medications and things like that. So it's like you have to really come out of everything that you believe and be open to something different. But it took me about 5 years to become a healer. But I would say to heal my body and illness, I would say, yeah, and a good portion of it, a year and a half, probably max. But I was very, dedicated. When I do something, I go all in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that's why, you're amazing at what you're doing. And I have to tell you, if you can heal your body in a year to a year and a half. I mean, obviously at that point you were, I don't want to use the word desperate, but a lot had happened. It was like the universe or God, something stopped you and said, no, you're not going to do it that way anymore. And you didn't, your only option at that point, or maybe I don't know what you felt, but it sounds like you just knew it wasn't working. Whatever that was, wasn't working. So you needed to go out and see something different. And um, that is so compelling that a year to a year and a half, you do the work and you do everything full on. I know you do. And um, to heal your body to nearly whole health and then realize that there's something here for you to go teach other people and be that for other people. That's what inspires me the most. I mean, I'm so inspired that you were such a career woman, a woman in her own career. I really admire hardworking women that rise to the top. It's that in itself is a great story to share. Um, and what I love, Alex, is that even if you're not having health issues, right? Maybe you healthy, you're a triathlete, you're in good whole health, and you're not needing to change your diet or your body's working for you. Um, there's other parts of your healing that's great too. And like, yeah, so maybe it's your heart, right? Maybe it's your heart wall. That this is how I ended up seeing you. I think I was like, I came in thinking I need a heart wall cleanup, and I probably, yeah, ended up years later doing all of it. But I mean, it's not just your body,
No, it's not just your health, but it
your
is,
health. Yeah.
yeah, but it's all aspects of you. So it's really, it's tapping into your body to communicate what it needs to make any change that you want to in your life, whether it be a problem or a desire.
Yeah.
So it could be work related. We have a lot of people, even work, the career may be stagnant, or people aren't listening to them, or um, they're just attracting the wrong relationships in their life, or they're not getting along with their coworkers. I think I worked with someone very recently on that. So pretty much anything that happens in your life, the law of attraction actually is real, and it's you can change it. So even if you're having a difficult relationship, the other part, you can still change your relationships with the coworkers, your friends, your family, everyone, by working on yourself. And so that's pretty amazing. You can, and one of the things I was going to mention, just because I don't think it's also widely known, is you can even heal genetic type disorders, or you
Right.
know patterns and things like that. So even fears or phobias, yeah. So addictions, it's really very open. So it's whatever is important to you and whatever it is that you would like to know. Sometimes it's difficult for us, even people who are into this a little bit. It's difficult to read yourself. It's a
Right.
that you can't see about yourself. And sometimes if someone goes in, and we can go in and pinpoint it. And so, and I don't want people to think we just go in and, because the one thing that's different about this type of work is we don't just go in and tell you, oh, this is what's wrong and you need to go figure out how to fix it. We're going to identify it, and then we're going to fix it, right? Like right there. Because really, yeah. So honestly, it's almost like if you can identify it, your body can let it go, right? Like right then, like right at that moment.
And what's so interesting, and one of the reasons I came to you was I thought I was coming to you for the Heartwell thing, but then I was having nightmares, and and I have not had a nightmare since. And it's something in there that was cleared. I didn't actually have to do the work. It wasn't like I had to go sit on a couch with you and talk it out, and we did anything crazy. Didn't take me years on your couch. It was literally an energetic thing that needed to go away. I don't know. I don't even know what it was. And you identified it, and we rid of it. And so my sleeping and my quality of life is so much better. And it's something really basic, right? I mean, people suffer from sleep apnea, or they don't have, they have sleeping problems. And anyways, my point with it is we don't really even know what we don't know about ourselves until you're exposed. I, um, I really believe, I am spiritual. So I have when I met you, I was already down the path, but I have introduced people to you. I've introduced a lot of people to you for multiple reasons, and even young people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, it's pretty fascinating to work on children and to see kind of where their issues kind of are generated from. I'll tell you, this is the best job because it's kind of like you're an investigator as well as you get to help people at the same time. So, and no person is the same of what is contributing to these things, or things that
Yeah.
you've forgotten about or didn't even know that bothered you that much, that might be blocking, just normal things like pathogens and toxins from leaving the body. So, but it's pretty cool. But the children are fun to work on. And that is a very good way to see how well it works, because we don't usually, I've had a couple people who really wanted the child to participate, but usually the children don't participate. And we just work with the mother, or sometimes the grandmother. And the children, it's like it's instant. Is they don't even have to wait a day or two. It's like they'll walk out of the room and the child is different at that moment. But it
Wow.
also, yeah, I mean, so that's the cool. It's pretty fun, and they'll just like completely, because the child doesn't have as much baggage to try to hold on to something, so they're free to identify and let go. And half of the problems with children, the message needs to also go to the parent. So once the parent gets the message of the children's illness, then the child no longer needs to present that message.
Interesting. Right. Right.
And we can work on animals too. I mean, it's
Oh,
not exclusive, but yeah. So animals are another one that works absolutely instantly, and it's a great way to kind of know things are working.
yeah. And this podcast, just for timing's sake, I really think we have to do another session with you to really dive into exactly what it is, because we kind of just scratched the surface that there's something else out there. And that was my intention. Is I just want to, when I started Journeys to the Lighthouse, it was truly that I've met so many amazing people that I feel like um, they're changing the world around us, and people knowing their story can help them change their own world and then help contribute to the world changing as a whole. Not that anything's wrong, but there's so much more to learn, and there's so much that we need to know while we're here. And so that is the purpose of Journeys to the Lighthouse. Your work, it just keeps evolving too. I mean, that's what's so amazing. And I want to bring you back, if you're open to that, and talk a little bit more about, the modalities. And I think, you can even teach some of us how to do something on our own. We don't necessarily have to come in and visit you. And you do remote, like a lot of the times I've been in, obviously in your office, but you still remote, and it doesn't matter where I am, right? I mean, you can.
Right. Yeah. So just like this Zoom. So I do actually a tremendous amount of Zoom sessions. It can be anywhere in the world. So it doesn't, have to be local, but if you are local and like to come in, we can do that too. So kind of a nice combination of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it works just as well, because we are, we're talking to the body through energy fields and kind of science, our energy fields project out, and we just have to tap into that. So we can absolutely do that.
I love that. Yeah, it's true. Thank you for, I love that your science background and your, I say mainstream, but that background is why it's so compelling to me that people need to know what you're doing. You're right. It's not woo woo. It's not witchcraft. It's all there for us. It's just, like anything, right? We do, if you're into yoga or your meditation, or you're into, the chi in the body through acupuncture. These are energy lines, right? We see them. You can visualize them, and you actually feel them. You're tapping into something very similar, just different.
Yeah, just a different way of communication, and there's a lot of different modalities, and all of them provide value and work. It's kind of what resonates with you. But I think the important message is that all these techniques are available, and that the body is intelligent, and it is communicating to us, and that we can learn to listen to it. Either you can have help, or you can, even investigate how to do that on your own. But the second message I really want to state is that everything is curable and changeable. I don't believe there's anything that isn't. So it's just getting to the underlying, contributing factor and identifying what it is, and then allowing you to make whatever change that you might need to do. So
wow. I love that. I agree. I think that, and sometimes we don't even know, like you said, we don't even know that it's needed. Maybe it is ill. You get sick, and then that's a hard stop. It's our body telling you, and then you're listening. But that's what's so amazing about your work.
Yeah, and I do. I have a website. It is lifetransformation.center, and I do keep lots of references on their ideas for self-healing. If you're trying to learn more about any healing work, things that help, I've got lots of references and stuff out there, so it's free information if anybody.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's amazing, right? So even if you don't necessarily want to buy into this right now, or have an interest in it, but you perked some, yeah, definitely check out your Alex's website here. It's a very there's so many resources just to even learn a little more. Even on Reiki, you've got stuff on Reiki, because that's kind of a trending topic now. And
that was kind of like my gateway into this. I did just one quick story, but I was at a business conference, not in this line of work at all. And I was telling someone about some of the difficulties I was having, and she goes, "Oh, my partner can help you with this." She didn't say heal; she said help you with this. And so I made an appointment the next day. I had no idea what we were going to do, and he said, "I'm a Reiki master. I'm going to make you a Reiki." I had no idea what that was. And so, an hour later, I'm a Reiki, energy is shooting out of my hands, and I had no aspect to it whatsoever. And so it was kind of my gateway from the business meeting.
Right. And that's so wonderful, because Reiki is becoming more mainstream, where you're able to get Reiki at like Massage Envy, or these places where people go to get massages.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah, so that it's becoming more available for people, and that in its own session. I mean, maybe I should have a Reiki master on here that can speak to that, because it's if you do it once and you get exposed to it, you don't forget it. It is definitely, and it's not massage, right? It's not. There's no ceremony. You're not drinking anything funny. Yeah. Well, I once again, your website is so, there's so much on here for us to go to, even supplements. And then obviously Alex, you're in Newport Beach. So you're available like Zoom wherever you are. And then obviously if you want more, we can reach you there, or reach out to me.
Give her my phone number just in case someone needs it. Text is great as well. And it's 949-416-0084.
Perfect. And I'll put that on the transcripts of the blog. But I so appreciate you being here today. And this is just scratching the surface, because now I've come up with a bunch more questions for you.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So we'll do this again. And thank you for your time today. And thanks for, showing up for the people, for the world, and doing your job. I mean, it really is such a powerful thing. And I love having you in my life. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm glad you're getting messages out to help all of us.
All right. More to come.
Right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right.